Alright, welcome back everybody. Got another LP ready to go. And this is going to be just probably a side LP. This is an old NES game that I've been playing for a long, well, haven't played it in a long time, but I played it a lot when I was a kid. Just simply because I'm a big outdoorsman. I love hunting, I love fishing, and I love my video games too. So this game was quite the game for me whenever I was a kid. Let's see. Haven't uploaded anything in a while, and that is because I'm switching careers and moving to a new job, but I've been there almost 5 months now. Everything's going really good. Still a lot to learn. So again, this will just kind of be a side LP. This is not going to be, just a main LP. Hopefully I won't be stretching this video into just too many videos, but I just want to go back and kind of live my childhood a little bit with this game. Let's see. Probably thinking, well, why not do the NES version first, which was the first Black Bass. And I will say I had this game when I was a kid, and I had that one I did have that one whenever I was a kid also. But the problem with the NES version is it's not really LP material. It's very simple, and while it is fun, it's the tournament mechanics are kind of goofy, and it's just not a real good game, to do an LP on. I mean, it would probably be pretty boring if I was to do it, so I'm gonna skip it and just move on to this one. This one is the one that has Hank Parker in it, and any outdoorsman knows who Hank Parker is. He's a professional bass fisherman. He used to have a show that came on pretty often, and I used to watch it. I liked it. I liked him. I liked Jimmy Houston. I liked Bill Dance and Roland Martin. I loved those shows when I was a kid. So anyway, this is Bassin's Black Bass featuring Hank Parker. Let's get started. Alright, you can start a game or you can view the records. If you view the records, let me just go ahead and do this real quick. Alright, official records are going to show you. They're going to show you totals for the 4 lakes that you go to. This is stage 1, 2, 3, and 4. Those are the 4 lakes that you progress through the game and you fish at. And then you've got official records for largemouth, smallmouth, and spotted. Now those are the 3 different basses that fall under the classification of being a black bass: largemouth, smallmouth, and spotted bass. And if you look at the stage records, they're not going to tell you who the angler was that completed those records. At least I don't think they do. Let me check here. Yeah, see, it's just going to tell you that you're allowed your 5 largest bass at each lake. And that's what you weigh in, and your total weight goes up against everybody else's total weights. And what you want to do is you want to place in the top 3, and then you get to move on. Unless you're at the stage 4, in which case just the top record will win it'll beat the game for you. So, alright, let me go back to this. Alright, official records, because if you catch any other kind of fish other than a black bass, then they don't weigh it in, so obviously it's an unofficial record. Let's see. Alright, largemouth bass. These are the big ones. You want to try to go for these if the lake that you're fishing on has largemouth bass. Or, well, all 4 of them have largemouth, but there's one lake in particular that has primarily smallmouth bass. You're going to want to try to get some pretty good sized smallmouth bass, and if you're lucky enough, catch a largemouth. But anyway, all these records are going to have Hank Parker as the holder of the record. And then, of course, whenever you play the game, you have a chance to beat his record. He caught this bass at the Bluestone Lake in open water with a plastic worm. Alright, let me say something real quick on official, and I'll say it on unofficial also. This smallmouth bass record here, now this one can be beat because it's an official record. If you catch a smallmouth bass that is a certain size, when you weigh in, you have the possibility of beating this official record right here. Now, let me go to the unofficial. Alright, unofficial, you just have individual records. Now, these three, the largemouth, smallmouth, and spotted, these are probably the same bass that were in the official, but the unofficial weight of this smallmouth bass when it was first caught was 11 pounds. I have played this game I don't know how many different times, and there's only one lake where there's pretty good sized smallmouth bass, and I've never been able to catch a smallmouth bass that unofficially is 11 pounds. Now you can get a 10.8. I've done that before. But I was never able to beat this record right here. The rest of them you can beat. The largemouth you can beat, spotted, yes, crappie, bluegill, walleye, northern pike, catfish. Those are records that all can be beat. But this one right here, I don't know what it was. It's this game is not without flaws, just like any other game. And I don't know whether they decide to put out an unfinished product trying to meet a deadline or whatever, but that's just one record that I'm 99.9% sure you can't beat that unofficially. So anyway, enough about that. We're going to beat some of those records on the way, hopefully. So let's get it started. Alright, so let's get some registration going. Cold. Male. Let's put in a little more detail. Right-handed. Let's go with the aviators. And make them look like me. I always liked style C and style F. Style F would be a little bit more distinctive from the environment. Of course, I guess style C would too. Although he's got a green shirt on. Let's just go with style F. All right, we begin at the local amateur tournament at Green Valley Lake. Okay, real quick, I've got an idea on how I can kind of make this game go a little bit smoother where it's not just completely boring. I'm going to try to touch on every single thing that you can do in this game, because there are just little quirky things that you can do in this game. I want to go over some stuff that I've discovered about the game that might be kind of lesser known. So what I may do is when we set out on the lake, I'm going to go to some different locations and kind of explain them a little bit. This lake in particular, I'm going to go to one particular location and show you what you can do there. And when I've explained just about everything that I can, I'm going to probably go ahead and just cut the video. And then I'll off-screen catching the bass that I need, and then I'll pick it back up at the weigh-in. And then we'll weigh in, we'll go through that whole process, and then we'll start the next lake. And I don't know I'm just gonna see how it goes. I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna set a particular time that each video, the length of each video. I'm just gonna kind of play it by ear, because this is, this game is unconventional compared to most LPs. So I understand that. So anyway, we got some sponsorship here in the background. And we have our announcer, and he says this is the local amateur tournament at beautiful Green Valley Lake. 50 entries desire to be pro bassers. Only the top 3 go to the next event. Good luck to all of you. Alright, now, here are the tournament rules. This takes a little bit. Let's go ahead and review the rules, because maybe it'll fill in a few of the blanks that I haven't filled in. Okay, tournament hours. You start at 7 o'clock in the morning, you end at 4:30 in the afternoon. Only black bass will be included in the weigh-in, obviously. Total weight determines your ranking. A maximum of 5 fish may be kept in the live well. Extra fish will be cold. A pound penalty for each minute an angler is late. Disqualification for more than 20 minutes. Now, let's see what we got next. Alright, so we got this guy. He's saying, are you in this tournament? He says, hi, I'm John. I'm an expert fisherman. Would you like my assistance? Take a guide. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and take a guide. Now, if you don't need him, you can choose no, and he will give you 4 free lures, and they're good lures. They're ones that you're probably going to want to use. Maybe not on this lake or the second lake, but definitely the third lake. But I'm going to go ahead and show him off, because if you're new to this game, what he will do is, if you take him, he will tell you he'll give you suggestions on a couple of good places to go, and when you get there, or whenever you stop to cast, he will give you a little bit of advice on whether you're at a good place, whether you're not at a good place. You just kind of have to take the indication of, from what he says. And when you go to your tackle, whenever you pick the place to fish and you go to your tackle box to pick a lure, he'll give you a little bit more advice on what lure you should use based on the location that you're at. So it can be helpful if you're new to this game. So let's take him. You should win with my advice. Well, good deal. Let's take him with us. Alright, let's start the tournament. Okay, so he says this lake abounds with plant life, and yes, it does. It's got lily pads, it's got weeds, it's got reeds, it's got deep water weeds, it's got tree lines on the shorelines. Head for the reeds or the lily pads, okay? Alright, we're right here at the marina. And this is, you want to remember where this place is, because this is where you're going to need to come back to once you're done catching your fish so that you can weigh in. Let's see. You can actually fish right here. It's not a bad spot to fish right here at the marina. The reason why is because your typical black bass will, they like shady areas and shallow areas also. And they will actually get underneath the marina on hot days. So this is not a bad place. I think I've caught fish here before. I'll come back here. I don't want to fish here just yet because I want to show this place off. Now watch the radar down at the bottom left corner. Now I'm going to back up real quick. Alright, you see how my boat moved there? Every time, if you keep an eye on that down there, every time that you move, the game calculates that as being in a new location. And you can watch it over on the right. You can watch your fish finder. You'll notice that the terrain at the bottom of the lake changes. And also the number of fish in that area will change. So as you move along, see, I moved again, I moved again, I moved again. The game is going to each time you move, the game calculates that as a new location. You start at 7 o'clock. Every 30 minutes, the game does kind of like a little reset, and it'll reset the fish that are at, like say if I was to cast right here, say there'd be, one black bass and one crappie. Okay, at 7:30 or at 7:31 probably, I could come back to this exact same spot on the bottom left corner of the screen on my map, and the fish in that area would change. Now, it's just the same as any other game, any other fishing game. The more you fish a certain area, the less likely you are to catch a fish in that same area when you come back. Now, let me show you a little area that I discovered years ago when I was a kid. If you line yourself up, you see how the terrain at the bottom of the lake changed right there? Yep. All right, let me move forward. Okay. If you'll look at the fish finder, the terrain at the bottom of the lake there has changed, and you can see there's some brush type area down there at the bottom. That means that you're in a deep water weed area. Deep water weed areas are good places to catch fish. In any lake, not just this one. Now, you don't have to go to these areas in this lake in particular because there's so much topwater brush. Like, for instance, just right ahead of my boat right now is some lily pads. Let me get a little bit closer. Let's see, got a little deeper. Get a little closer. All right, I want to show this area right here, and take note of it in the map in the bottom left. All right, you're going to want to push the X button. Bring up your menu. You can cast. You can view what you've caught. You can get an update on the info, or you can quit. If you're done for the day, you can save your game. All right, so let's cast. And John's telling us there's some action on the fish finder. It might only be the weeds. Try casting. Okay. So now we're at the casting screen. First thing we want to do is we want to get rid of that spinner. The spinner is good for nothing, in my opinion. I never use it. So let's go to our tackle box. In deep water weeds, a worm or a jig and pork bait works well. All right, so he's giving us the advice to use either a worm or a jig and pork. So you go to attach lure, and you have it's basically a different lure. You can choose the bright version or you can choose the natural version. I start with the natural version because they're better. And if you lose one, the bright's not much better, in my opinion, or not much worse, in my opinion. But just the natural version, I don't know why, but I've always started with those. So let's pick a. He told us that we could use a worm or a jig and pork. This is the worm. This is the jig and pork. I kind of like the worm a little bit better. So let's choose a worm. Bring up our menu, and we want to mark. Now this is your opportunity to check out the area and see what kind of fish are in this area. So let's go straight up. If you go straight up, okay, right here where I believe that's a walleye right there. We don't want to catch him. This is a walleye too, I believe. We don't want to catch those fish. But sometimes, right here in this particular area, this is the only area on this lake that I've been able to find this size of bass. But sometimes when you come here, there will be a bass anywhere from above 6 to a maximum of 12 pounds right here. Now this fish right here, let's see, is that the same one I was looking at? Now that's a bass right there. Yeah, that is a bass. Okay. We don't want to catch him because that means we will have fished this area, and if we come back later and there's a bigger bass here, we want to have every opportunity we can to catch him. So anyway, just to kind of demonstrate, you can look around a little bit more. You can hold down the X button and go a little faster. Let's see, there's another bass. This is about the size of bass that you're going to be wanting to catch here. So anywhere else we go, we're going to be looking for that particular fish, that particular type of fish right there. They're not very big in this lake, except just in this one area. So I think what I'm going to do is, let's get back to the screen. Alright, so I like to make a counterclockwise circle around this lake just as kind of my strategy, and I'll be doing that, but I think for now I'm at 20 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and cut the video because I need to go check on my boy. So I appreciate everybody watching, and stay tuned for another episode of Bassin's Black Bass. Later.